Day 2 of SIGGRAPH. Hi guys, it's Frances. Today I'll cover Day 2 of SIGGRAPH. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit and mention a panel that I missed covering in my last video, which was Gamifying Learning Maya, and that was presented by Matthew Chen. I think he also has a YouTube series. I'll put a link over here so you guys can check it out. It was an interesting talk about teaching Maya. One of the problems that they ran into is that it is overwhelming. The available tutorials out there, they could be really dry, which means they lose interest in most tutorials. The students would usually watch the video, pause it, and then go do it on their own, back and forth and back and forth. And what they had found was that is resulting to burnout, and they lose interest, and then that's a missed opportunity. So his presentation is about gamifying learning Maya, to try to work around that problem by introducing MayaBot. I haven't touched Maya in about a decade, so I have never seen MayaBot. You get this robot who walks you through basic commands in Maya. Seeing it in the future is perhaps other studios could modify MayaBot a bit and the scripts as well, so that they can onboard artists that is more in line with the studio. An interesting point though that someone that we met from the Disney Mixer pointed out was, although that's very cool, the MayaBot, that would still be interesting to someone who is already familiar with Maya. If someone was already familiar with Maya and they are stuck there onboarding, having to follow this robot, they might find it a little slow. They already have some knowledge of the software, so that's interesting. Speaking of things that I missed, this video is actually going to be a lot shorter than my previous two. I thought now would be a good time to also share some of the panels and talks and events that I missed out on. I think they're still worth checking out if you ever get to go. One of the things that I missed is the job fair. I missed the job fair. I was looking forward to it, just checking out which studios are here in Vancouver or are hiring in general. Not that I'm looking, but it's always good to know who's around. I mean, don't take that as a relationship advice. It is good to know which studios are in Vancouver or who's the hiring in general. You never know, maybe a friend of yours would be looking and so on, or it would be a studio that you'd be interested in the future. I was pretty sad that I missed it. I had no idea that it was only one day. I think the job fair should be more than just one day, especially for anyone who is looking to talk to these studios. You know, if it was only Monday, what if they couldn't take Monday off, and then they missed out on the entire job fair, right, basically. So another thing I missed is the animation festival or the theater. That was usually something that I look forward to in past years. The timing didn't work out this week and things were overlapping, and unfortunately I had to miss that. So that was disappointing. I hope if you were watching this and you got to see it, that you had a fantastic time. Next year though, if you ever get to go, look for those. Those are really, really cool. You get to see shorts and animations sent in various festivals all around the world, so it's pretty cool to check out. Another thing I was sad to miss was there was a lunch for women in technology. And then later on I also found out that there is another event with women in animation at SIGGRAPH, and I missed both of those. So if you ever go next year, those two are also very good to check out. And lastly, another thing that I missed, not because my schedule didn't work out, was because they're just not there. Autodesk ShotGrid. Actually, when you walk in front of the exhibition hall, the first booth that you'll see is F-Track, which is a competitor to ShotGrid, but no ShotGrid presence. That was really sad because I would have loved some merch. Yeah, so those things, it's something to look out for in the next year. So speaking of exhibition hall, previous video I mentioned that the exhibition hall essentially has booths of different companies, different studios, different schools come by and talk to their to their staff, their recruiters, and ask questions about the company. I'm also checking out the exhibition hall. It's very interesting actually, because I started asking the different schools if they have courses for production, and I'm starting to see a trend that no they don't. So yeah, I'll keep you, I might do a separate vlog for it, because it's very interesting to see their perspective, and I'm starting to see some hope. Some of them are starting like, yeah, maybe we should. Yeah, we should. I'll have more about the exhibition hall on my next video, only because I didn't spend as much time on day 2 at the exhibition hall. I did a full walk around just to see who's there, and it was a lot smaller. For lunch, we walked over to ARC, which is right across the conference hall. If you're a foodie, it's usually one of the restaurants on the list to check out. But this afternoon, we're gonna go check out ILM's panel, so that's pretty exciting, and that's probably the highlight of today. I also went to check out the pipeline potpourri. Potpourri? I'm gonna just spell it out here. To be honest, this one was way over my head, so I have nothing more to share it here because I don't want to give you the wrong information. For the notes that I did take, I will share them with you through my blog post, and you can find it down below in the description. And then for the rest of the day, we checked out ILM's events, which was the Industrial Light and Magic panels. So they had a couple of different talks all held in one room. They started with the Light and Magic documentary. You can check it out on Netflix. There's also a section specifically for virtual production or stagecraft. There's a panel for behind the scenes of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't think we got to Obi-Wan Kenobi, unfortunately. Yeah, just sharing little anecdotes that they had while producing that. It's also kind of charming because they tend to, share their early beginnings before their legends like John Knoll. Also really inspiring how ILM pushes their technology. Again, a disclaimer, I no longer work for ILM, but I'm just sharing my genuine feelings and thoughts from that experience. But yeah, overall, it left me feeling inspired of how far ILM pushes things, and the technology of what we can do. And I thought it was super fun to see how, despite them pushing the boundaries of the art and technology, overall it still felt like it was play. They still find ways to make it fun. So that was really neat. There was also a section specifically for virtual production or ILM stagecraft. Yes, they also use Unreal in a virtual production, where you're filming the actors and the background is being shown behind them through LED screens, and you can make changes to the CG set while the actors are there. Was, of course, with everything there, you also need everyone there. So that meant that their supervisor or their pros are all in one spot making these decisions and collaborating. And I think that's also an art in itself. Being surrounded with like-minded and creative people, I think that's also where the magic happens. More cheese. But let's talk about the production side of virtual production. So from what it sounds like is, because you need all of these assets ready before you start filming, it requires a lot of planning. So you need now to make sure that you know exactly which assets need to be made and when they need to be done by, because when they start filming, it needs to exist. One of the speakers in the panels is virtual production supervisor, and her name is Sonia Contreras. She walked us through of what her typical day is, and it sounds stressful and yet badass. So although virtual production needs a lot of planning, that's not to say that there are no changes on the spot the day you're filming. So sounds like a very high intensity environment where you have to be really on the ball and know where things are and know what people need and what to give them when they're asking for a request, but also be on your toes because changes happen very quickly and you only have the resources that you have on that day to work with. So that's pretty intense. So that if that sounds good to you, maybe virtual production might be something that you would want to look into. So yeah, that's pretty much it for day 2 of SIGGRAPH. Like I said, this one's a short one. Also, shout out to Francesca. She's one of the recruiters at ILM and also a big supporter of So You Want to Be Prod. So thank you for hanging out with us, and it was so much fun. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!